Welcome back, folks, to the Director's Garage. And, how'd you like that intro? Anyway, guys, I'm your host and resident idiot, Michael, and, this right here, this, my friends, is 5 months in the making. This is by far the most expensive addition I've made to the Director's Garage ever. It's a monster of an episode. In fact, it's standing room only, which is why I'm standing only in my room. I think by the end of it, most of you are going to believe I've gone bananas, but in fairness, I do tell you that I'm an idiot at the beginning of every show. So while you're busy mocking me, this is one of those episodes I'm going to kindly ask you to subscribe off the top of the episode. Because it's subscriptions that drive channels like mine and it help me keep this thing going. And frankly, guys, I need your help. So it's subscribers that help me get the currency going to keep these episodes coming. So take a second and click the little button if you would. Now, y'all have made some crazy guesses as to what might be in this box right here, and well, as I told you, none of you came even remotely close, and that's kind of the fun of doing this kind of episode, is that it's kind of off the wall and you don't know what to expect. So I'm going to start telling you a story of why the contents that are in this box are of such an interest to me, and so I'm going to get you a story going as I start to cut open and get down to what's inside. So about 10 years ago or so, I bought a Technics RS-1500 reel-to-reel deck. Now, the RS-1500 is a deck that I first used way back in my high school radio station days. It was WHSD 88.5 FM in Hinsdale in the 1980s. And I hosted this 3 p.m. to sign-off shift back then. And that station, it was playing punk and new wave. This was stuff that you couldn't hear anywhere on the radio back then. It just didn't exist. And the radio station had this awesome library of these tapes. They were reel-to-reel tapes, and it was fun digging into the deep tracks on the reel-to-reel stuff. And the heavy rotation stuff, I was on the stuff called Carts, which was like an 8-track tape that was basically only 2 tracks. And then, of course, we brought in our own records, and spun the vinyl. But you might see where I have this emotional connection to reel-to-reel, because I'd spend hours going through the mixtapes that were on these shelves. There were hundreds and hundreds of them, and you'd go through and you'd find these treasure tracks of stuff, you know, London Calling, Train in Vain, God Save the Queen, Blitzkrieg Bop, Psycho Killer, Zimber. It was all the best punk and new wave, and it was all buried deep on these reel-to-reels. Now, and remember, this was a time when you didn't have the internet to look stuff up. You just had friends exchanging tapes of your own, and then the radio was like pop and oldies and classic rock and country, and that was pretty much it. So, to us rebels, it was like opening up a new trade route into uncharted territory. Now, the RS-1500 was a deck that was released in 1977 and 1978. Now, they were as state-of-the-art back then as you could get. It had a switchable head that let you play back in 2-track or 4-track while recording in 2-track, and its maximum speed is 15 inches per second. This is a critical spec because most of the direct-to 2-track master tapes being released today are 15 inches per second, where most consumer decks max out at about 7.5 inches per second, which is the standard for most of the pre-recorded labeled releases. Now, about 10 years ago, I was surfing eBay, easily my most dangerous pastime. You know, forget the time that I jumped out of a plane for fun. That's nowhere near as dangerous as me browsing on eBay. And I ran across a deck that looked to be in pretty good condition, so I plopped down about $1,400 for it. And that purchase started me down a deep dive into the world of Ultra-Fi, sources as close to the master as you could get. And of course, you gotta pay for that privilege. Now, each of these tapes costs about $500 a copy, and they're certainly not cheap, but they are only one generation down from the original 2-channel master tape, which is pretty frickin' awesome. And they are pure analog. The signal never sees any encoding or decoding in the digital realm, and the format doesn't suffer from the inherent flaws of vinyl. Now, most of these master tapes are recorded on professional Studer or Ampex decks, and there are advantages to these pro decks. You can do things like change equalizations, and they're easy to splice tape together on them and stuff, but when you start seeing the end result, you begin to understand that you're looking at something kind of special here. So you're probably wondering, where's this all going, right? Well, a few years ago, I stumbled across this guy out of Washington. He was working at a company called J-Quarter, and they were rehabbing these old 1500 decks and outfitting them with major technical improvements. They're putting in these tape guides that have movable roller bearings to reduce the friction and the stress on the tapes. They have improved recording and playback heads of kind of a pro grade, direct output from the heads so that you could use a higher quality preamp on it than the internal solid-state Technics version. Plus, these folks are engineers, guys, and they go through these decks with a scope, and they make sure they're all properly lined up, and the voltages are all within spec, and the heads are dead on balls accurate. And then there are some cosmetic improvements as well. So yeah, this guy's making artwork out of these old reel-to-reel decks. And so after selling off a bunch of stuff in December, I found that I had the cash to maybe do something like this and have this deck serviced and some of these upgrades completed. And then, of course, rehabbing something old kind of fits in with the sort of style of my show and my way of doing things, doesn't it? And I'm ducking down low because I do want you to see this at the same time I see this. So you know the magic words. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Look at this shit. Look at this. It's a piano black finish. Guys, I hope you can get down. I wasn't able to plug it in and whatever because I didn't have the plug hooked up, but yeah, this is a RS1500 done with Macintosh style plating and Macintosh style knobs. So yeah, and your director has shrunk a little bit in case you haven't noticed, but I want to be able to show off some features here. And first thing I would note is up here you see this roller here. On a typical RS1500, this would be just a post that the tape would ride against, and J-Quarter has changed this to a roller bearing, and that's a significant improvement over the wear on the tapes. Now they also replaced this whole tape block is new with a new 4-track head, a new 2-track head, and then of course it's in proper alignment, and you can select which playback you want right there. The counter looks like it's the same counter as my old one. It doesn't look terribly different. And the cue function seems the same, but all these buttons are new. They replaced all the buttons on it. These were formerly plastic, and now they're not. And then, obviously, all of the graphic plates have been put on to make this sort of look a little more Macintosh in its style. It's just neat because it's going to go right next to my Macintosh preamp, and boy, they did a whole thing on the NAB reel adapters up here. Looks beautiful. Gold. These are gold rollers up here. Brand new cap stands, that's really nice to see, and they should. I mean, there was a significant outlay of money. It wasn't cheap, folks. I also need to figure out which output on the back of this is the head out direct, because I'll be wanting to use the Macintosh actually to preamp this thing, give it a little more kick. And folks, to celebrate this inaugural run, I've got a very special delivery here, and what we have is a brand new John Coltrane, A Love Supreme. You're not going to find many better recordings than this one right here, and this is one step off the master. This will be tails out if it's like every other one of these I've done. There's that. We are threading our brand new J-Quarter. Okay, we just hit the leader. I've got the RS-1500 rolling into the Hypsos. We're going to listen on the Elite from Meze as a first go, and just hear how good these things sound. Here goes the leader. Hopefully we're about to hear something pretty special. Whoa. It's alive. It's a very lively sound. Oh, this is so special. There's air around everything. Every instrument has air around it. I mean, it's a deep analog sound, which it should be. But it's the ultimate analog sound. I mean, the bass response out of this is incredible. Really powerful bass coming through. It does make me want to listen to these. We'll do some more listening, clearly, but I'd love to hear these on the Abyss, too. Seems like a good thing to check out. God, you just hear everything. And it's a really holographic effect. Very deep. It's a deep sound. It's a thick sound. Yeah, the drum work is just spectacular. It's Elvin Jones on percussion, and it's just off the charts spectacular. This is a soaring record. It takes you places. It's not laid back Coltrane playing like core blues. This is like a very uncomfortable place, a lot of chaos. But it's so interesting, and it's so melodic. Well, we're having a very special experience here. But I'm telling you, the bass response on this is so lively. It's such a lively sound. This is unlike, it doesn't have the same characteristics as digital. Digital is very clean, and it's very, like, this has got a livelier, more aggressive, it's a full sound. It's just fuller. Just a great recording and a great mastering, and you're getting it at 15 inches a second. I mean, it's spectacular. It's just spectacular. I hope you all get a chance to hear some of these master tapes someday at a high-end show, because it's different. It's not it isn't like your typical digital recording. I wish I could tell you it was, but it really isn't. There's an immediacy to this. But the finish on this deck is beautiful. Just beautiful. It's a piano black with gold trim and got the gold knobs, gold and silver. Just really, really special looking deck. And I love the new meters. They've got Macintosh style meters in here. It's this is an unbelievable experience. So before we go, we're going to listen to one other master recording, and that's the Staple Singers' Respect Yourself. And this is an exceptional package. This one comes from the Tape Project, and that's a group that was put together just to try and get these rare recordings released in a true two-track form. These exceptional recordings, I should say, released in a two-track form on reel-to-reel, so that enthusiasts like me could enjoy them. So we'll go ahead and rewind this, because this is another Tales Out. Oh. Guys, it's special. They've got the ladies around the microphones, and it's a stereo spread, and it's amazing how precise they are in front of you. It's that saturated. Saturated is the word I've been looking for all night. It's a saturated, thick sound. It's absolutely wonderful. Might be a little over. It's so special. So this is Respect Yourself. And you've got the Wurlitzer piano. And it's just got such a groove. This is so amazing. The bass just goes right through you. This is true soul, just true amazing soul. There's just something special about how full the sound gets, and it builds on itself, and it's a saturated sound, guys, that I don't know you can get anywhere else. You can get close to it with LPs, I think. But there's something else going on here. I mean, when they start doing solo voices, it's like she's floating. And then the horns come in. I mean, there's so much happening. And it is a great recording. I mean, we'll give them that, but there's something about this format and the way tape delivers. It's just audio purity. It's the best you can get. This is the best you can get without having the actual studio master. There's not a digital file in the world that can do what this deck does. And that's special, but you pay for it. Well, I can't wait to play around. I'm going to pause it here. I can't wait to play around with this with other headphone amp combinations and hear it on a, you know, one of my killer, on the 1266 TC or on the Utopia or the Susvara or one of, you know, another one of these. This to me is this headphone has been growing on me by the month. I've had to travel, and I took these with me on 2 trips, and my time with them has only made me grow more fond of them and what they do and how they do it so efficiently, delivering this amazing full sounding bass and great detail and world-class comfort that no other headphone has ever done before. There's so much here to like in the Elite, and pairing it and giving it its first shot with this Technics RS1500 from J-Quarter. They took my old deck and they really did a number on it. It is quite special. And I certainly do hope that this deck from J-Quarter has impressed you as much as it has me. It certainly looks wise. Well, you know, you'll have the B-roll and all that. I'll do all that for you, but it's spectacular. It's a spectacularly beautiful casing now, and the sound is so much improved over where it was even when I did it, when I did the adjustments on it those couple of years ago. Awesome. Just awesome. Really is. I hope this impressed you as much as it did me. And this thing's just beautiful to look at. It really is. There were cheaper roads I could have really gone with this, and I even contemplated maybe buying a professional deck. The problem with the professional deck is I got to have floor space for it, and I don't have floor space. So rehabbing this deck, redoing something that's old that I already enjoyed, and making it extra special and sound better than it's ever sounded, maybe on a par with these Pro decks. Certainly the motors on this are as strong as any in the business. It's the reason that a lot of people choose to use these 1500s. They do have the internals on these are really quite strong. Now, next up, I do have a new blind What's in the Box from Audio 46. We'll get the deck back into its normal position, get the desktop all cleaned out, and get back to our normal situation. I hear had some unusual framings to deal with today, and I hope it was equally as fun for you as it was for me to shoot. Now, so Audio 46 has got a new blind What's in the Box on the way. What's in it? I have no idea. It's one of these where they sent me something and we're going to open it up live on the air. It's some live action, and it's my very favorite type of episode outside of spending a lot of time with a really cool reel-to-reel deck. Yeah, incredible. I can't wait to share that one with you. I have a user headphone that just came in. It's a mod someone did. He wanted me to check it out, and so I've got that to unbox. That's coming in the coming weeks. And then I also have a new Guilty Pleasure headphone that I purchased because I found it on eBay and I thought, I really want to hear what this sounds like. So that's coming in the weeks ahead. Really, lots and lots ahead, and we do now have this insane source to demo those headphones on. It's going to be a fun ride. I want to thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day and spending it here at the director's garage with a ridiculously expensive deck. Give this episode a thumbs up if you enjoyed this look into the world of reel-to-reel, or you can do the other thing if you think I've completely lost it and I should be banished to the Isle of Misfit Toys. I can't say I blame you either way, but I will see you before you know it.